All right, so what we're gonna do real quick is I'm gonna get into this episode, right? Uh, Welcome back. My name is Warren Guru, aka Uncle Warren, and I like to essentially give you guys the opposite side of the fence that sometimes is not so honestly really looked at, just because developers, bundlers, they have more control than traders, and not only from a perspective of controlling the floor, but also when it comes to demanding the rightful needed uh, you know, royalties that must happen in the early stages of the project beginning. Now, in my courses, I talk about how to do bundling, how to do deployment, how to do everything. And on the other side, what you're going to have is this gentleman right here. You guys may or may not know him. But what I'm going to do is just break these shit down a little bit differently. He's coming in from like a trader. So his point of view and his like demeanor is like outlandish, right? He's like appalled essentially because they're coming from a world where it just almost feels like, to be completely frank and honest with you, don't shoot the messenger, but it really just feels like these guys are really coming in and thinking that contracts get created by robots and not by human beings, and that someone's got to lose in order to win. But this is not this type of discussion in regards to, you know, that jargon. I want to talk about specifically the things that he's talking about, because I do talk to you guys about the stuff, and it's kind of good to have a working case study once again, to kind of put these things into perspective. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna review the video. We're gonna pause and stop, and we're gonna go over things so that way we all have a reaction and an understanding on what is happening in front of your eyes. You're in a position right now where there is literally people creating jobs. Again, I remember saying this to guys, people, sometimes it resonates with some people, sometimes it doesn't. But what's happening at the end of the day is people are coming in and learning, onboarding, educating themselves on how to be bundlers, how to be devs. They're becoming just as valuable as web designers were back in 2010 when it comes to, you know, e-commerce platforms, and everybody needed a website guy, and they were looking everywhere to find them, and they were charging substantial amount of prices. Imagine being able to be solidified as a person or a company that's able to deploy contracts and but charge for your services. Charge for your services. So everything that I'm mentioning for free in my videos, literally, you can charge for, and then make more profit on the actual deploy. And here's a case study right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just play this, and then we'll kind of pause and stop and kind of review it, so to speak.
Crazy world of crypto, and in this video I want to dive into Kelsier Ventures, who still, as of today, is still actively offering token launch services, despite the fact that one of their main partners and founders, Hayden, is kind of currently at risk and involved in an international scandal. What I was able to uncover as of today still is the entire process through which Kelsier launches tokens, and what that process looks like, how much it costs, how the company is still actively involved in wire fraud, washing tokens, washing money, and internal sniping to friends and family. What I'm going to do right now is switch over to my computer so you can see it, and I'm going to break down all four components of what's going on over at Kelsier Ventures. So let me switch over now. All right, so I'm about to show you right now my understanding of Kelsier Ventures and how they're operating today, based on direct experience with finding out and asking what they would charge in order to launch a token.
So first and foremost, the one thing that we need to just see, for example, just before verbatim, right? This is a 4K. There's a plan of action. There's literally a PDF. There's literally, we're in a world where you can actually come in it and you can treat it as like a kid, or you can be adult about it and treat it like a business. So first of all, they've pretty much probably branded themselves using Twitter, X, websites, whatsoever, to essentially become a brand that launches coins. All it requires is one person to be able to have a particular tool to be able to grab a supply and sell at the time needed, like we've been talking about consistently on my channel. So this is what happens. You first just create a simple PDF, and it could be just as simple, completely honest with you, as going and hiring an AI agent or going and finding a free AI agent on Google that literally can create designs for you to essentially present to the world. That is literally marketing. So essentially you have first a company that has found out how to brand themselves to essentially so people can see them as a service provider. All right, let's go ahead and continue.
This is literally from today. I was able to interact with a team member to figure out what's really going on there. So a few things. Kelsier is active. Hayden's at an undisclosed location, although I know approximately where it is, but I don't want to out this guy. I received a quote today from the team, and they have a core offering which really is focused on operating in the shadows. You're about to see what I mean.
So before we begin, I want to tell you that don't be confused, right? Like, obviously, what this guy is currently doing is essentially allowing people to understand. He has a broad audience, right? Far broader than mine currently, right? And so essentially he's putting on people essentially on a service that it's been provided now in the 2.0 world that probably has a attached price to it before you even think about even starting the contract. So imagine to be able to buy into this education, this academy that I'm offering. The President of the United States already did. The First Lady has already done so. You being able to have these skills and access to your discretion, being able to incorporate yourself to be able to now position as a way of X, Y, and Z person, whether it be a brand, celebrity, you name it, can come to your door literally knocking because you have all those cards set in place. We first saw here, right, it says launch and extract. And it's like a full-on table of contents, so to speak, of just general information, so that way people like yourself can feel at ease when they're particularly thinking about jumping into this space and having you perhaps do the bidding when it comes to the actual wallet and all the necessary technical aspects of the entire project. Let's continue.
At the foundation is what I would call the launch and extract process. This entire process is designed around as extracting as much money from their tokens as possible. And when you pay them for their service, they discuss literally the wash, deploy, and snipe process. I'm going to get into the fees in a moment, but fundamentally, they don't want this to be tracked, and they go through a washing process on the way in and then on the way out.
And for those that have been watching my channel, we are very transparent around here. That washing process is as simple as using Houdini swap and using the private sector of it. This is just free game. They're not going to tell you this, but I'll tell you a particular recommendable source that you can go to, do your own research. However, it's called Houdini swap. And Houdini swap allows you to do proprietary transactions that mixes the wallets, and it takes up to 30 minutes for the actual transaction to be completed. This is the process to wash in and also the process to wash out. You just got that information for free. You're welcome. Let's continue.
Some may call that wire fraud. I don't know what they want to call it in the US. I'll leave that up to.
All right, so now he starts to talk about specifically wiring fraud. Now, a lot of times when people get interested in specifically bundling, one of the things that they want to ask is literally, is it illegal to bundle? Is it illegal to essentially pump your charts and dump it? I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I a lawyer, but like I can tell you is that this particular space is irregulated. However, all because it's irregulated does not mean that you cannot be amplified into other things that are very much illegal, such as what he's referring to right now. You take it as is.
The judicial system, but that's kind of what I read it as. They also market make. post token.
And by the way, just make sure you realize that he says this is what keyword I read it as. He's not a lawyer. Just be 100 with you.
Can launch, and there's a couple of options associated with that. There's short term, which is what happened with Melania, and then there's long term, which is over an elongated duration.
What we're talking about as far as long term and short term is a specific market cap goal. So in the projects, specifically the ones that you can look at in my live deploys and my students, you'll see essentially that there's specific market caps that we limit the wallets to. So the transparency of what he's talking to, so that you as a normie and boarding into this space can have full understanding in 4K, and no one's just talking hoopla around and shit, and everybody can have it, like, understand this as if you're talking to respectfully like a 5-year-old. What he essentially is saying in layman's terms, right? Pardon me, is the short-term projects are set up to dump at a lower market caps. Simply as that. We grab the positions, we set limiters up immediately, and they dump them at that particular market cap. It could be 100K, it could be 500K, depending on that particular person's liquidity. As far as the exit liquidity that goes, their follower count, their brand awareness, that'll determine what the short term would be. However, if we're referring to long-term projects, then they're essentially just meaning they're going to farm longer, which in layman's terms means that you're going to buy a main portion of the contract, and you're simply just going to sell slower. That's pretty much it. That's it. Pretty much. That's it. Now, how to do it, this is what we talk about. This is what we go into literally in verbatim in 4K. But this is just you guys kind of getting a A-B perspective here moving forward into the space.
That requires 20% of the tokens. They market make with that 20%. And then, like I said, they wash it on the way out and extract that money. Okay, so let's dive into this. So what's the pricing? Well, they're actually pretty standard. If you've spoken with market makers within this space, it's pretty straightforward. They take a 2% allocation of your tokens, which they're going to dump in the future. I saw a recent internal leaked article video, which said something about 1%. Well,
what's interesting here, to be completely honest with you, is the power. Let's go behind the scenes real quick, guys, and not be fooled as far as the marketing jargons, especially of this Caucasian man being able to use his mass audience to be able to essentially get your eyes and attention onto one thing and one thing only, and kind of forget literally behind the scenes of what's happening here. This man here is an influencer. He's a KOL. He's one of the biggest KOLs actually on Twitter. One of the biggest, right? These KOLs consistently always are going to be approached to drop a CA address all the time because they know that they have the room to move markets when it comes to extra liquidity. Now, it's highly expensive for these guys to just jump in and just drop a tweet, let alone to drop a fucking 8-minute video shilling the shit out of the service company. He literally has a whole PowerPoint presentation here, breaking down the economics of how this works, pricing, this, or third. Rage baiting of sorts, right? But at the end of the day, it's teaching you and onboarding you. Now, I want you to know something, though. This is me looking at you now from a bundler and having no bias of sorts at all. You know, I don't get paid. I don't buy any of these niggas. But I want you to realize something. If the fucking projects are paying this guy a lot of fucking money to drop a CA on Twitter, just a tweet, a line, how much you think the bundlers are paying him to do a whole fucking 8-minute video? And if the bundlers are paying him this much fucking bread to do an 8-minute video, that tells you how much fucking real bread is happening. These fucking devs coming in, paying these calls are nothing compared to guys coming in as bundle services. You know, there's a difference here. There's a difference between a guy that's starting a project and then saying, just jump on the Telegram and create a floor. That's not what I'm referring to here. I'm referring to coming in, creating a floor, coming in with liquidity with multiple wallets that are seasoned, that do not pass as robotic wallets, and to be able to ride that FOMO market up high as possible to the point where you can sell automatically at that without any emotion to it, really. Anyways, I don't want to get too crazy in this video because it does seem like it's just a complete on LARP, to be completely frank with you, now that I'm gonna go into this. But they're gonna go into specifically pricing here. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention that if he's going over like these type of pricing, obviously he's got this information from the bundler company to shill, but it gives you like literally an understanding of like a price set amount. Now, just like how back in the day when form jobs, like when, for example, web design got created in 1995 and websites were new a thing, there became a economy shift and change of what there would be needing as a floor price for these service providers. So a company like this and a person like this to be able to drop the ball, it's important for me to whistleblow almost this information because you're at the right time and right spot. Not only do you have the ability to do like LARP tactics or like, you know, straight up OG dev stuff, but now you can get into the Web 2.0 world because now you have foundations that are being created that are setting literally floor prices in their service pricing to be able to for you to essentially refer to. Oh, X, Y, and Z company is charging X, Y, and Z. So we charge this price because they charge this price. There's a floor price that gets developed, and that needs to be essentially discussed right now. That's the most important thing about this video here. It's not the fact that he's shilling it because he's doing his job. It's for the simple fact that why aren't you here? Now that you have an understanding of the seriousness of this, we can take it to the next step, get you educated, go to the Discord. Don't get fooled by any fake fucking people that are trying to be me. I don't DM you first. Get the education, get the bot you need it, and now provide yourself a service so you can really fucking print money. It's just right here in front of you guys. I don't know what you're waiting for. I mean, what can I say? I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. I'm simply a guy on YouTube that just likes to essentially give you guys as much education as possible to see, hopefully, that you guys succeed within the opposite side of the fence. I don't know about you guys, but grass is kind of greener on this side. Hey, what I know. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Warren Guru, aka Warren, Uncle Warren. Thank you so much for going, guys. Join the Discord. Link in the description. I do have a wonderful website, warren.guru, where I teach you literally hours and hours, case studies, live sessions on how to print money. If you have any questions, reach out to me directly. If you want to know if you're talking to the right Warren, well, guess what? I didn't DM you first. So that's the first step. Join the Discord. You'll see me labeled in there with Cole Educator, and you can DM me directly. But if any of that happens and someone DMs you first, it's not me. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, blessed day. I'll see you on the other side. Ciao.